We are seniors from Brandon Evansville High School. My name is Alana Henneman.
I'm Kyla Clemenhagen, and our presentation is on herbal alternatives. Medicine has an important role in the treatment and prevention of diseases in both humans and animals. Pharmaceuticals are designed to help, but they may also have unforeseen effects on wildlife and microorganisms in our environment. Although the side effects on human and animal health are usually investigated in thorough safety and toxicology studies, the potential environmental impacts of the manufacture and use of medicines are less well understood.
These chemical byproducts that are produced from pharmaceuticals are harming our communities. Our project's goal is to bring awareness to the commonly unknown damaging effects and propose our own solutions to help protect our communities. We both have taken FCS classes throughout our high school careers, and they have taught us about similar environmental issues that the first step to a solution is to bring awareness to the communities that are being affected.
Though it may be safe to assume that these substances do not substantially harm humans, we have only recently begun research into whether they affect a wide range of organisms in the environment and what this means for environmental health. A wide range of human medicines including hormones, antibiotics, painkillers, antidepressants, and anti-cancer drugs propose the most substantial damage to the environment.
Although pharmaceuticals have been released into the environment for decades, in the past few years, researchers have just begun to quantify their levels in the environment. Once released into the environment, pharmaceuticals will be transported and distributed to air, water, soils, and sediment.
Degradation of these compounds varies significantly depending on chemistry, biology, and climate conditions. It seems that indirect exposure to pharmaceuticals through the water supply is unlikely to pose a risk to humans. However, risks through other routes of exposure, such as uptake from soils into crops and biomagnification through the food chain, have yet to be quantified and cannot be ruled out completely. Medication can reach the environment in various ways with various concentration levels.
Drugs taken internally are not completely metabolized in our bodies, and the remainder ends up in our waterways as it leaves our homes and enters sewage treatment plants. Surprisingly, many plants do not routinely remove pharmaceuticals from water. Most of our water treatment facilities are from the 50s and 60s and are not designed to be filtering out chemicals released from pharmaceuticals. Although it would be expensive, updating our water treatment facilities is a possible solution.
Research published from the National Center for Biotechnology Information revealed half of the planet's wild animals have been wiped out in the last 40 years. In freshwater habitats where drug residues are most commonly found, the research also found 70% of fish amphibians had been lost. A wide range of subtle impacts have been reported, including impacts on insects' physiology and behavior, effects on dung decomposition, inhibition or stimulation of growth in aquatic plants and algae species, and development of antibacterial resistance in soil microbes. Steroids from contraceptives are strongly suspected to affect the fertility and development of fish, reptiles, and aquatic invertebrates.
A few dramatic examples of wildlife harmed by drug contamination have been discovered, including male fish being feminized by synthetic hormones used in birth control pills, and intersex frogs have also recently been found in urban ponds contaminated with wastewater. These issues are more prevalent in large cities with concentrations of pharmaceuticals have being used and disposed of are happening at higher rates. However, small communities also face potential issues with their wildlife development and contaminants in their water supply.
Our overall source of water is in jeopardy. Several drugs were found to be polluted in 80% of America's streams and about 25% of U.S. groundwater. Not only do chemical byproducts of the production process end up in our drinking water and soil, but so do the medicines we ingest and then excrete. A change to existing policies can only be accomplished by identifying the areas where the environment is exposed to pharmaceutical effects of drugs and then determining whether or not changes need to be made. Improved manufacturing practices at pharmaceutical firms, national regulations that regulate the process, and consumer education are essential components to make a change.
A more direct solution is drug manufacturers should make medicines that are readily biodegradable and have lower environmental effects, like herbal alternatives. Green drug processing is not impossible, but it will require time and commitment in the support of federal and state legislation that are pro-environment. Our proposed solution is to make an individual impact to educate our community and switch to alternative herbal remedies.
We have presented to some of our classes at our school that closely pertain to environmental issues like our plant and soil science class. After we presented, we handed out a survey that asked 2 questions. 1, did our presentation educate you on the harmful side effects of pharmaceuticals? And 2, would you now consider using some herbal alternatives? The results were great. We successfully educated 100% of the students we presented to, and 70% of the students were willing to try herbal alternatives.
We are aware that there's virtually no herbal solution for pharmaceuticals like oxycodone and other intense pain relievers or anti-cancer drugs. We also know that people are a lot more hesitant to use herbal alternatives to potentially life-saving medicines because of the limited research and the lower guarantee of effectiveness. However, there are a lot of alternatives for everyday drugs like acetaminophen that are used in high concentration by the majority of the public.
Now, just like pharmaceutical drugs, not all these herbal alternatives are suitable for everyone and should be taken into consideration before engaging in taking them. It is hard to obtain information on the amount of human medicines used, but recent data from the Visual Capitalist indicates that high-use drugs in the U.S. include acetaminophen, aspirin, ibuprofen, atorvastatin, which is used to lower cholesterol, and glufosinate, which is the first-line medication used for type 2 diabetes.
Besides changing policies and directly changing the drug itself from the source, herbal medicine is the best alternative for some pharmaceuticals that individuals can use because they are completely eco-friendly and entirely biodegradable. Herbal substitutes are also broadly more affordable than pharmaceuticals. It is also proven that herbal medicines have virtually no effect on the environmental ecosystems and wildlife. And for the vast majority of people, herbal remedies propose less harmful side effects than modern pharmaceuticals. For example, using willow bark, which contains the chemical salicine, that helps to ease inflammation, aches, and pains, as well as reduce fevers and can substitute instead of using acetaminophen.
Another herbal alternative is lavender, which is confirmed to directly impact mood and cognitive performance. It also has sedative properties that helps reduce things like anxiety, stress, blood pressure, and migraines.
Thyme has strong antifungal and antibacterial properties. These properties help prevent foodborne illness since it can decontaminate food and prevent infections in the body.
Sage is another medicinal plant that supports memory and combats degenerative diseases. Sage is also well known for managing diabetes with its ability to naturally lower glucose levels.
Peppermint helps to relieve stomach aches, nausea, and muscle pain. Peppermint is a good choice for pregnant moms that suffer from morning sickness.
Medical marijuana is proven to be effective with reducing seizures in those with epilepsy. Marijuana has also been proven in studies to kill cancer cells and reduce tumor growth. Due to its effects on the limbic system, which is a part of the brain involved in our behavioral and emotional responses, it also is prescribed by doctors to treat anxiety, Parkinson's, post-traumatic stress disorder, Tourette's, and many more.
The most common ways to use these herbal medicines is to put them in teas and buy them in supplements in pill form. These are just the very tip of a massive iceberg of medicinal herbs that can substitute as an alternative for pharmaceutical drugs.
We hope our presentation has educated you on the drastic effects of pharmaceuticals and has swayed you to consider using some herbal alternatives.
Thank you.